2 Chronicles 22, 2 through 4 says, And Ahaziah was 22 years old when he became king, and he reigned 1 year in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Athaliah, and the granddaughter of Omri. And he walked in the ways of the house of Ahab, for his mother was a counselor to do wickedly, and he did evil in the sight of the Lord, and like the house of Ahab, for they were his counselors after the death of his father to his destruction. Well, if you're joining us in reading through this 90-day reading plan, today's reading is 2 Chronicles 22, 1 through 23, 11, and I encourage you to read that passage. Now we have a story of intrigue and murder. Ahaziah only reigned as a king for 1 year, and then he died. His mother Athaliah took over and reigned in Jerusalem, and she thought that she had destroyed the entire line of David, but there was one child left, and Joash was raised by the priests and learned the promises of God and the way of righteousness. Jehoiada was the priest who raised Joash. And for 6 or 7 years of his life, he was under the tutelage of Jehoiada. He learned the things of God, and from his youth he knew nothing else but what it meant to have a relationship with God. Now my wife Tony and I began to know Christ at a reasonably young age. She was 20 and I was 24. Our oldest daughter was less than 1 year when we began to live for the Lord. It was during this time that God led us into a very godly chaplain who mentored and discipled us. And when we left the Army to go to school, he and his wife's teaching followed us, and it continued to mentor and disciple us. Our oldest daughter, frankly, does not remember a time when she did not know Christ. All of our children have grown up to be part of the family of God. They've realized this relationship very early in their lives, and they're following in the footsteps that godly chaplain and his wife led us in. They are teaching their children about Christ. They are teaching their children how to walk with God. Now, the only way that we're going to change this country is through the families knowing Christ. We cannot have a true morality without a true relationship with God through Christ. We cannot change our nature without the help of the Holy Spirit. And we can't become partakers in God's nature, 2 Peter 1, 3 through 4, without that relationship. Now is the time of repentance, and now is the time to fall down on our knees and renew that relationship with God through Christ.